It's morphin' time! Kroger Fury Key. Aha. Link the Morphin Grid. Kroger Force, power up! Oh yeah! So you know what it's time for with that action going on. Kroger Force, Power Rangers Kroger Force version 4 and also 5, since 5 didn't really have much to it, so we'll just tag that on to this video, sort of like we did when we had the video of both 1 and 2 together. So this one's gonna have 4 and 5. 5 is a little small bit. 4 is gonna have a lot to say. Oh yes. So King Gay coming at you there. Well, I try to open these up a little bit differently with each video to sort of really pop it, you know, really come at you and everything. And I also like having these around when I'm, you know, things Power Ranger related there, since this is what I pretty much got Power Rangers related at the moment, along with, of course, the Mighty Morphin Megazord. And of course I do have the first 2 Power Ranger movies, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie and its sequel Turbo. I did see the recent movie, you know, the one where they tried to be more serious and everything with Power Rangers. I think it was like 2017, I want to say it was, when it came out. It wasn't completely bad, but yeah, I think you know what they say, as the critics say about Thomas the Tank Engine, lighten up a little bit, you know. I mean, being serious is fine, and you know, nothing wrong with being a little dark when it's, you know, when it's necessary. But yeah, I mean, they kind of were trying a little too hard there, and then of course some other stuff that really didn't get a lot of what you really wanted to get out of something that's Power Rangers related, you know. I mean, it's one thing, you know, to adapt, you know, because, you know, you got to fill an hour and a half to 2 hours, but come on now. Yeah, I think they may have increased the wrong things, yeah. But anyway, let's get back on topic. Might possibly look at that in the future. I don't know. I don't know, Nate. It just all depends on, you know, between me and Christina with Royal Talks, and also just Royal Talks in general, because one thing about it, you know, I do want to try to get, you know, rotate with a few other people that I know, you know, just sort of mix it up a little bit depending on the movie and stuff. Like, say, my big sis Casey, for example, for maybe movies like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that. Yeah, just sort of mix it up a little bit, you know. So, anyway, before we start this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends, special thanks, buy some comics, and support us on Patreon. Definitely do support us, because, yeah, we got, it's a couple of videos that are Patreon only at this point, mostly due to this whole copyright thing. I think the first one was a Proud Family slideshow, because I used the Proud Family theme. I mean, I was like, I gotta use that theme, you know. Yeah. Then, of course, the one I recently uploaded not too long before this video, pertaining to Yumiko, well, re-uploaded for the 3rd time. Yeah, because for some reason, as I explained earlier, so apparently there are certain royal free that aren't royal free, whatever that means. So yeah, I can say, yeah, it's weird out there. But anyway, but yeah, definitely support your boy on Patreon, even if it's just $1 a month, and you get access to those 2 videos, and you know, possibly more, you know. Like I say, I would try to only put more Patreon only videos on after getting the members. Yeah, after building up, you know, a lot of followers on there. But the only reason those two were on there was because of some copyright issues. So, but they're there. So, but let's move on. Today, Power Rangers Kroger Force version 4. This sort of, just like how version 2 was sort of a, I guess you could say, a remake after a lot of stuff in version 1 of Kroger Force from the Pines Road area was kind of getting a little too wacky. I mean, it's a wacky concept indeed. Yeah, combining the two, but I mean, like beyond even wacky for me. Like, with the whole dragon and crane combining with machine swords. So in this case, yeah, because of all the stuff with the backup rangers and everything with version 3, now it did create some good crossover stories there. Don't get me wrong, like Kim Possible and the Black History thing, as well as the crossover with Jungle Fury. And also a few other good little story nods. Yet the whole store was able to become a Megazord. The thing with Ace and Silverstone. So yeah, but like I say, I think mostly the backup ranger thing was kind of what the redo was caused by. And also because there was a point where, remember, like I mentioned, that I had been discussing my ideals with the employers at the store that that I was basing some of the characters off of in that particular version. Well, one of them, the one Kiki was based off of, she didn't say much for a while, but after a while she was like, nah, I don't want to be in this Kroger Force thing anymore, And funny story. When she mentioned that, I was like, well, okay, well, we can do it some other way, but what about, your boyfriend? That's still, because he was actually still cool with it. I was like, what about, because we put somebody else in your spot, that means that's who he's gonna. She's like, well, he can still be in if he want to. He just ain't gonna have no girlfriend but me. I'm his girlfriend. Okay, so, way to get around that, we just took him out as well. But they weren't the only two that got taken out. Starting to sound like my open Power Rangers when they replaced Jason, Trini, and Zach with Rocky, Aisha, and Adam, but for different reasons. We weren't having no behind the scenes studio arguments or something. Well, whatever it was I kind of know what went on with that, was issues with the payment and other stuff with the studio as well, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot more details that I don't know, so I'm not gonna really get into that. So I don't want to be like, well, Gabe, no, it was like this. Okay, I mean, if you want to explain about it, that's fine. If you want to explain about it, if I just don't beat me over the head with it. But yeah, if you want to just like, hey, Gabe, it went like this. That's fine. You can share. There's nothing wrong with that there. I'm just saying I'm not, because I don't want to be trying to assume stuff and then I'd be like all off and everything. So going into version 4, yeah. So the yellow and white Kroger Force Ranger were now going to be based off of 2 new people. So we got a new Kiki. And this time, I think the White Ranger's still called Jonah. Yeah, but the only thing is he's not gonna be Tyson's brother. It would appear that I've angered the spirits. Nah, I'm just kidding with that. But forgive the sound if you heard that. But anywho. Before I get anybody else upset. But the one that I was going to base the White Ranger off of this time, because of the change of the Yellow Ranger, a new couple. White Ranger, he ain't gonna pass for not even a fraternal twin of Tyson. So that whole brother angle was just dropped there. Yeah, so there was that. And also we had a new Donald. Donald was being based off of a different person this time. The one from version 3 was kind of like, yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore. You know how it is. People, in some cases, even with TV shows, people get, people play in something for so long, and then they're like, I want to do something else. Sort of like what we saw with Chippendale, when he wanted to do Double O Dale and stuff like that. So, it happens. No big deal. So, new Donald, more back to the more comedical Donald. This time, also a bit of a kind of a geek, a little nerdy, kind of brainy, but with some humor. It's sort of like if you took Billy from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and mixed him in a blender with Sailor Venus. And when I say that, I mean like their character and personalities in a blender. You know how those of you who've seen Sailor Moon, Sailor Venus was kind of the klutzy one and sort of messing up things there, but she had a good heart to her and everything, like, when she wanted to get everybody feeling better when everybody had a cold and was trying to make soup for them and everything. So yeah, take that type of personality and mix it with Billy's nerdy behavior and everything, and you get the new Donald for version 4. Pretty much similar to version 2, but a little bit more added to him. So that also means that that there is a different Kroger Force Black Ranger this time around, because the management system is sort of changed for version 4. This time, Michael Reagan is not the produce manager; he is the store manager instead. At that time of the writing of version 4, the Susie, the one that she was based off of, was no longer managing at Kroger. We had a different manager around that time. But yeah, I had a different idea for what it was, and also what it was. I was kind of trying to trim down the characters just a little bit there. So also one of the backup Rangers, Joshua, from version 3, would now later become the Kroger Force Black Ranger. You will see how that's going to work out when we get to that. So yeah, Michael Reagan is now the store manager, which makes Alan Faulkner the produce manager this time. Tyson as the assistant, who Alan is trying to get Michael to elevate to produce manager this time, so he can move on to being Kroger's chief technician and everything, which would also come in handy for what they're going to need at Kroger with those trucks, as you remember in version 3. But that's pretty much what some of the changes are. Let's go into how they affect episode to episode here. So, you start off, you have similar to version 3, you have Tyson skateboarding around, myself. CC is still, of course, Christina. They're going to meet up for lunch. They have a bit of a run-in with Kiki, who's not in a very good mood, except they don't bump her into a shopping cart this time, but they do kind of get her upset. And, of course, Alex does try to hit on her. Also, this time, both him and Donald try to hit on her, and it's sort of like the one girl, two boys trying to, like, oh no, she's my girl, she's my girl, she's my girl. Or as a certain song would go, the girl is mine, mine, mine. No, the girl is mine. Michael, we're not gonna fight about this anymore. I thought I told you, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Well, I've heard it all before, Michael. She told me I was for her for love, you know what I'm saying? Well, after loving me, she said she couldn't love another. She really said that? Yeah, she did say that. You keep dreaming. I don't believe this. Oh, the girl girl is mine. No, no, she's mine. She's mine, 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 mine. Okay. Well, I get carried away with that. Funny, I was actually singing that, I think yesterday before making this video. Well, I think a few, earlier this week. And one of the guys heard me singing that, and heard me singing that where he was like, no, please, man, don't insult Michael. I was like, I'm not insulting Michael. I'm not. Now it's like Linkara from one of those channel also when he's like, are you a Nazi, Linkara? No, I'm not a Nazi. I'm not. That was pretty funny. So, and if you're watching Linkara, because I know I'm probably gonna tag you in this, because I know you like Power Rangers. I'm not. Before you turn this off, I'm not making fun of you. I'm not. I promise, I'm not making fun of you, Linkara. I just thought that scene was funny, but I want to make sure we cool on that. Just like I'm not insulting Michael either, to all Michael Jackson fans. I promise you I'm not insulting Michael Jackson. I'm a big fan. I love listening to his music. So, now we got that cleared up. And speaking of which, there was... oh, it's in this version. Okay. We're coming to this. We're coming to that. So anyway, so yeah, like before, but not instead of trying to get Tyson to be the assistant manager, Alan's trying to get him to be the produce manager. Michael doesn't think that Tyson is up to stuff, and then of course our villains. First we get a talk between Tyson and Cece that we didn't have. I don't think we had really much of in version 3, but we kind of dive a little bit more into this with version 4. Cece wants to is trying to get another job, trying to get pretty much trying to get a job in general, but not really having any luck. This actually is a relation to what me and Christina went through back. I think this was before. This was actually before we got married, when we first got engaged there. Yeah, we first got engaged. She had been working at a school store at the university she went to, Southern University. But after graduating, then she was trying to, get a job outside of there, because, only that job only lasts as long as you're a student there. So she needed another job, to, just to have some steady income. And it took a while to find one until about 1 year, when she got a note from the convention center, and bada boom, bada bang, she started over there. Then, things were kind of, because one thing about it, it was good at the moment she had it back then. But then, years later, after we got married and stuff, it was, because one thing about it, it's sort of a call-in type of job whenever there's only an event. So if there's no event, there's no work, and with no work, there's no pay. So, yeah, we kind of needed something a lot better than that years later. Not right when it first happened. It was good at that point, but now we needed to evolve something. She wanted to get something better after a while of being there. And, of course, 2017 come, and she's now in Clicklist at Kroger. Pretty much, I guess you could say, about a little over 8 years after version 4 of Kroger Force, and also a little bit longer for version 3, where her character is working at Kroger. Isn't that ironic? So yeah, they're talking about that. It's pretty much sort of like us going on that job hunt before the convention center called. And then you got Donald is listening, and Donald has a lot of quirks in here that sort of comes off really that really makes people like roll their eyes a lot, and really silly at times, like wondering how strawberry milk is made. Yeah, he was, I guess you could say he was really trying too hard at this. However, though, a little bit later, Alice comes in, being annoyed by Donald's presence as usual. Kiki arrives and is really upset about the fact that the floor manager just quit and pretty much took out her frustrations on her. So Tyson offers Cece, like, hey, maybe Cece could work that position up here. And before any more responses can show up, the enemy attacks, Sidara, of course. And just like version 3, they're transported to the Kroger Sky Base. This time, it's not the Kroger president that they meet up with. And yes, everybody that's in the store is teleported there. Customers, employees, everybody included. So they can be out of the way of the flood. But yeah, it's not the Kroger president this time. This time, it's actually Michael Reagan, Alan Faulkner, and of course, Felicia, who was mentioned in version 3 but didn't really have that much of an appearance, but now she sort of you sort of will see more of her with Michael and Alan, as well as assisting the Rangers in a way. And they, in the place of the Kroger president, they tell about what's going on, the whole Civil War economy, the aliens coming, the elemental gems, and now Kroger morphers were, of course, 5 Kroger Force Rangers. Cece kind of declines from this and first thing, she kind of is a little upset about the fact of being thrust into this, as well as Tyson about the floral thing. And before you say, like, well, wasn't she trying to get a job in the first place there? Yes. However, though, you gotta think one thing. Now, I know there are some jobs where, couples do work together and, pretty successful with that. I'm not saying that that's something that no couple should do, work on the same job, but I'm just saying, not everybody, but there are some cases where there can be drama when, you have a husband and wife on the same job and also the same position or similar position. Like, just say Kroger, for example, you have a husband and wife both working in, say, produce or dairy department. Yeah, again, I'm not saying everybody will be like this or discouraging any couple from doing this, but all I'm saying is that there are some cases where where drama can happen. Say something happens, something goes wrong on the husband's end, like maybe, maybe the manager's coming on his case about something, and the wife's like, well, how dare you do something, it's a big argument and all that. Or just something amongst the husband and wife themselves. And in some cases, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, which I have witnessed this back in Pines Road Kroger. Not going to say their name, but there was a couple. I was just on my way to have me a nice break, had a glass of milk, had a bottle of milk and everything. The minute I walk in the break room, one of the co-managers is trying to help settle a dispute between this couple that's just going at each other. Girl was over by the sink, the boy was over by where the lockers were in. Like, okay, did I walk in at the wrong time here? Okay, I was just coming to take my break, So, like I say, it happens, not everybody, but it does. But so yeah, it's kind of something like that. And yeah, and back then, yeah, because of that, that was another reason why the offer of Christina working at Kroger was never brought up, because of the fact of getting hired at my Kroger, and and drama like that breaking out there. That's what we were thinking would possibly happen back then. That was like way back in 08, after her graduation from college there. So what happens a little bit later, Tyson gets through to Cece, despite the fact of Kiki trying to discourage him from doing so, and her, Alex, and Donald go down to face the threat themselves alone. Eventually, Tyson does get. Tyson then goes off to help them, and not wanting to force Cece any further into this, thus causing a bigger problem with their relation. However, she's then informed by Michael and Felicia them that even though that while they do understand how she's feeling and everything, there are some times in life when you have to go through some things when you have to do something that you might not feel up to doing, and fate of the world would kind of be important there. So pretty much like that. As my granny say when she ate her apple every morning, I don't do it because I like it. I do it because I eat it because it's good for me. So take it from my granny and her apple. So she decides to come down and help out, and unlike version 3, there is no club where she accidentally fires and hits Kiki and another fight breaks out. No, she comes down. They all do. All 5 of them morph together, because earlier it was just 4 of Tyson and the others fighting off the foot soldiers with their gym powers. Lightning for Tyson, Kiki has fire, Donald earth powers, and of course Alice with water. Cece arrives with her wind powers that knock out the remaining rock soldiers that they're fighting, and Sidara then comes into play, and they all morph together. And leading into version 2, where they fight against Sidara with a combination of their powers and of course their weapons that they have. While there is no Mary Sue backup rangers in this one, we do kind of have a little bit of a Mary Sue with the weapon. A little bit. It's not quite as bad as the backup ranger thing. And it does sort of help make up for a later issue with the civilian modes there that I'll explain with episode 3 on through the series. I think there was the thing where their weapon could become multiple other weapons there, like more than one, probably like 2 or 3 more weapons. The Thunder Sword was able to become a crossbow and a slinger. The Fire Axe was able to deattach and be pretty much what it was then. I think no. Oh, this time it was different for the Yellow Ranger. The Yellow Ranger, since she had firepower, I'm trying to think. I want to say she had the oh boy, because I know Donald had the Earth Axe there. He had like the Earth Axe this time, which was able to I think was able to become like a hammer and everything. And then Kiki had what was called the Fire Staff and some Fire Stars. I think Fire Staff and Stars. Which would be known as the Tiki Torture, like the tikis that they have in Hawaii there. Then of course you had Alex this time with the dual ocean blades instead of a drill, because the guy that Alex is based off is in this version as well, and this was an idea he came up with. Man, that drill's fine, but I want dual blades, dual sword blades, yeah. So he gets his dual sword blades, which can also combine into sort of like a double-edged sword and also a sword laser, if that makes any sense. Well, I guess in Power Rangers, I guess it kind of can, because in some cases they do shoot lasers from swords sometime. And of course, Cece has wind fans and a cannon this time, which can combine together and pretty much make a big blast there. So fans and a cannon there. And then of course they can all combine their weapons to form the Kroger Force crossbow blaster. So you got axe. Okay, you got sword form into crossbow, dual blades, axe, then the cannon, fans, and the staff with stars on it and everything. So yeah, pretty much like that. I hadn't drawn a lot of the stuff from. I drew a few things from this version, but not a lot. So kind of in the dark about that. But anyway, it defeats Sidara. Kodran shows up and they get to summon their Kroger truck Zords for the first time and defeat him, working together as a team, of course. We do have the manager trio, the co-manager trio again, Smith, Jefferson, and of course, I think I called them, I forgot what I called them in version 3. If y'all looked at version 3, you can put it in the comments if you like. So I'm gonna say Jefferson, Smith, and Blake. Blake this time, or yeah, Drake, like Drake and Josh, you know. So Drake, Jefferson, and Smith. Yeah, they're actually the ones responsible for painting the Kroger truck Zords in different colors. Don't ask me how the heck they were able to paint that quick, especially Zord-sized trucks. Go into episode 3, sorry. Episode 3 where they get what's called these auto blasters that can go into blaster mode or knuckle mode. They're sort of similar to these handhelds that we have at Kroger. Now we got something else at Kroger that we use to scan different stuff and do markdown stuff like that. That look kind of like iPhones. There, a lot of stores have. I think even Walmart got this. The zebras, what they call them. So you got those. It's fine. They're not bad. I kind of miss the old ones with the big, which there are a few of those still around, and that we do use for some other things that apparently for some reason the zebras don't do, but it's very limited. But they're very limited. However, I know ClickList has some scanners of their own, personal scanners of their own for that department that looks like a cross between the iPhone looking zebras and those big blaster looking handhelds, but in a miniature size. That actually would have been more efficient for everybody to have. Just make the thing a little bit smaller. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, and the Auto Blaster's Knuckle Mode is sort of based off of a label maker that we had in the different departments like produce and meat market. That we used to use to stamp dates on stuff before they gave us this electronic scale that pretty much does the labeling for us, so we no longer need it. Evolution of technology. So anyway, in this, it's decided that Tyson is the leader of the group because, of course, Red Ranger, and also some other things that are mentioned in here. But yeah, all of us watching Power Rangers know that they always make the Red Ranger the leader. It's a thing in Power Rangers at this point. So all the more reason why at some point we need to have a female Red Ranger. And I don't mean what they did with A Squad and SPD or that temporal female Red Ranger and Samurai. I'm talking about like officially starting off the whole season with a female Red Ranger leading the team. Just to mix it up a little bit, So, anywho, so yeah, Kiki is not too happy about this and storms off from everybody because she was expecting to be the leader of the team, being how she sees herself, with her status being the front end, managing the front end of Kroger and kind of keeping up with different things like their schedules and stuff like that. So it's like she ain't having this. Cece tries to go off to talk to her, and unknown to everybody, the two of them end up disappearing, which we find out later what happens. The boys then morph and go to take care of a robbery at a jewelry store by a monster called Cubius. And during the fight, at first they face off some rock soldiers on Morph, of course, Then they morph to take care of the monster. Donald gets an idea of flying his what they also get what's called these Kroger flying saucers, sort of like that thing that disc that Static has in the show, you know, that he be flying on. So yeah, pretty much like that, that they can fly on and get to places. However, Donald tries to fly his into the monster, but it accidentally crashes Alex by mistake, causing the monster to get away. Alex is so upset with Donald that he ends up just saying like, "Hey man, you're fired." Like, which really Alex has no power of firing another employee, but that's just how upset he is about this whole situation. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, this version of Kroger Force, before we go any further, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the series, but I gotta mention this now that I'm glad, as I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm mentioning it now. This version of Kroger Force, while it was meant to have, you know, for kids version like the previous Ranger installments that I created, this is where I tried to experiment with a sort of more adult kind of Kroger Force, sort of like what the Super Sentai series would have. And I may have went a little overboard with some of the adult stuff in it, and it's sort of woven into the story. So yeah, if you're watching this video and you got kids because of the fact, oh, this said Power Rangers and everything, I'm just letting you know, it's gonna the story we're about to get into sort of this is about to become a PG-13 kind of version here. So because I was trying to do like Super Sentai at the time I was writing this, and went kind of a little like, ooh, I can write this. Yeah, I was young, okay. So just letting you know, this is gonna get a little PG-13, and I will also try to make I'll probably try to make I'll try to make a notice of this before the video starts, that this particular Power Ranger version is a little PG-13. So just a bit of disclaimer warning. So now that I got that, now that we've made that clear, so apparently things get a little worse for the team when they find out Cece and Kiki are missing. The boys try to go out to find them, Donald being kind of depressed about the whole firing thing. Alex then ends up getting kidnapped during another battle by a partner of Cubius, which is Serena, not the one from Bubblina, Serena, who has Alex pretty much at her house, tied up and everything, making him think that she's playing a game. That's why I say this is going to be PG-13. This warning. This is what I wrote back then. So then Tyson tried. So then she sends Cubius and makes him grow big, forcing Tyson to take his Kroger truck that one Kroger truck by itself to try to fight Cubius off until Donald can go get the others. Can go rescue Alex and the girls. Donald decides to go all detective about this, like Pink Panther mode, and he's able to get everybody free. Finds out that the girls have been drained of their youth by Serena, but he's able. They find where their youth is being encased in a little bottle to get it back. They get Alex free. And yeah, there's a scene where Donald was eating some chocolate cake. I really wish I had my rough draft right, because I actually had this printed out and also in emails, but it's on my Mega Gabe email and I cannot get into it now. So the only email I'm using now is Miracle Comics. So yeah, can't really bring that up, but there was a little more detail in that. But Yeah, especially with Donald eating chocolate cake. The others get free of Serena. They join Tyson with their Kroger trucks to defeat Cubius with the Kroger truck Megazord, of course. And then Alex takes it upon himself to defeat Serena for what's happened and everything, thus making a combination between his Auto Blaster and his Dual Blade swords, and thus finishing off with the Kroger Cross Blaster, of course. After which he apologizes to Donald about what happened and everything, and of course Kiki makes amends with Cece, as well as with Tyson, about the whole leadership thing. And that wraps up that episode there. We go into the next episode, which has a very special guest star. Starts off where Donald, Alex, and Tyson are talking about a bachelorette party for Tyson. A bachelor party, excuse me. Bachelor. Had to correct myself there. A bachelor party for Tyson and getting a singer to perform. There's some pictures on the table. You got Jordan Sparks, Raven Simone, and a few others. But then Then Donald notices a picture of Hannah Montana. Alex states that somehow his little sister's photos must have got mixed in with his. Donald looks at Hannah Montana's picture and is like, she's pretty, and starts fantasizing himself with Hannah Montana. If we were a movie, you'd be the right guy, and I'd be the best friend. Yeah, one in a million song. Kiki shows up with a new hairstyle and goggles on, trying to look more heroic-like there, which kind of gives her an anime appearance. But Donald does, Alex, of course, flirts with her as usual, like, hey, baby. Oh. Yeah, sorry about that. I guess that indicates Alex is flirting. However, Kiki is kind of surprised that Donald is not going goo-goo-eye, as he usually would. But apparently it's because he's too busy staring at Hannah Montana's picture, and he even states that he went on lovecalculator.com. I don't know if it exists now, but back in the day, this website did exist. And it said that he had a 100% chance of a relation with Hannah Montana. You do realize that kind of website is mostly for fun. It's mostly for fun and giggles. It's not really. You don't really need to take that seriously, Donald. Yes, and I know because I've been on it. But yeah, you don't take that seriously. It's just for fun, sort of like FaceApp. So, just so happens Cece shows up and introduces everybody to an old friend of hers, which turns out to be Miley Cyrus, aka Hannah Montana. And Donald is like, she really is. Oh, her face. Yeah, it turns out the reason that Cece knows Miley Cyrus is because back when she used to live in California, Miley was on, back when Cece used to live in California before coming to Shreveport, she passed by Hannah Montana's limo and saw that they was having some car trouble, and offered to ride her to the destination of her concert. And as a thank you, she allowed Cece to say into the concert and everything, and also hang out with her after it. So that's how they became buds. Also, a bit of a plot hole I want to point out here is, a bit of a continuity, a bit of an error here. Criticism I want to point out here is that Miley Cyrus just walked in Kroger with Cece, and nobody in the store except for Donald and the other Rangers, no other employee or customer has reacted to her presence like, so there's no screaming fans or anything like you would think there would be. Just think if Eddie Murphy walked into Kroger. Hey! So, yeah, that was a bit of an error in writing. But anyway, a monster shows up outside named Tratus from the previous version. He's attacking everything. The Rangers engage him and the Rock Soldiers in their civilian form before morphing, of course, with their auto blasters in knuckle mode. And yeah, that's kind of the Mary Sue I kind of mentioned, that the weapons at least sort of covered up for. Civilian mode, they could use their auto blasters in both modes, their elemental powers, and fly on their saucers. So, yeah, the secondary weapon that they only have when they're morphed kind of sort of made up for it, with it being the change into different things. Not too much, but it at least was a little bit of a help there to balance things out a bit. Excuse me. So during the fight, Tratus tries to sneak over to launch an attack to try to hold Miley Cyrus hostage as his way of getting at the Rangers. But her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, shows up and actually is able to fight him off pretty well. Like, ready, set, don't go. Yeah, making a song reference, of course. Don't have an achy breaky heart. Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart. So, yeah, there's that. However, Tratus manages to escape, but not without a little present. He manages to fire off his trade beam, which instead of switching him with one of the Rangers, switches Miley and Cece. And the reason this is because he was aiming at Cece to switch with her, but Miley Cyrus intercepted the attack, picking up her weapon to try to blast the beam there. So then, of course, they have to figure out. So it turns out the switch wears off after 24 hours, of course. So that means that, and there's also a moment where Billy Ray does do a little song performance for the manager trio and Felicia, who's a big fan of him. There's a concert that Miley has at the Bolger Civic Center, or Centurytel. And in order to pull off this performance before the whole trade thing wears off, Cece has to, since Cece is in Miley's body, she has to perform in Hannah Montana. However, Miley in Cece's body performs next to her on stage as a new celebrity called Betty Smiles, which was actually something we made up for Christina at one point or something else, in order to help her with the songs. However, Tratus attacks with a giant robot and captures both of them. And I'm gonna set this down. I really wanted to hold that. Anyway, so I'll fiddle with this. So just then, so the Rangers do. So turns out, Tratus thinks his plan is gonna work. That the Rangers are gonna surrender their powers in exchange for both CC and Miley Cyrus. There is one problem that Tratus doesn't count on, that Tratus is not aware of, is that when you interrupt a Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus concert, you're gonna get a mob of angry fans, and even an evil alien can't fight them off. They come to Tratus's hideout with pitchforks and torches, and while he's trying to fend off the angry fans, the Rangers are able to get CC and Miley free, and of course morph in order to summon the Kroger Truck Zords and defeat the giant robot, then defeat Tratus. Miley, being still in CC's body during all this, means she gets to be the Pink Ranger, but of course she's in CC's body, so it still looks like CC in morphing sequence. However, after defeating Tratus, we do get a face-off, all the Rangers, like Kroger Red, Kroger Blue, and Miley gets to pose with the Rangers and everything. And the ending of the episode, Donald actually gets to have a romantic moment with Miley Cyrus. Sort of similar to Romeo and Juliet with the balcony scene and singing One in a Million. Oh yeah. Good nerd love. Then the next episode deals with oh yeah, so that was a Donald focus episode with the whole thing with I think it was more of a CC focus episode because of her connection with Miley Cyrus. The one before it was more of a I want to say a well, actually, that was more. So actually, Donald was the one that got to finish off Serena instead of Alex. Yeah, it was more of a Donald focused episode then. Now we get an Alex focused episode that starts off where everybody's at the gym, except for Donald because he's in a class at the university he goes to, which means yeah, he's the youngest of the Rangers, still being in college there. You remember how Jason was trying to lift a certain amount, a certain amount of time to break the world record in one of the Ranger episodes where the Sphinx was in, and well, Alex is trying to do that, and we also get a bit of a DBZ reference because he's trying to lift this weight 1,001 times so they can say this line. What did the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that could be right, can it? Of course, they could go 9,001, but you know. So anyway, yeah. Kind of chokes on it at first, like Jason did. And, well, actually, no, I think he actually succeeds with it. Yeah, so then they go to visit Donald, who is completely worn out from a lot of classwork that he's been doing recently, as well as also a special credit project that he's been working on, which are muscle enhancers. He tries to, since everybody's there, he tries them out on Alex, and this is where a little bit of a PG-13 comes in. When he tries it out on Alex, not only do these things malfunction, but they sort of blow up on him. And don't worry, he still survives because, you know, TV somewhat cartoon logic. Well, TV logic, you know, because in real life, yeah, that wouldn't be so fortunate. So it sort of blows up on him, and as a result, all of Alex's clothes are off. So he's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, sort of like the cartoon, you know, when they don't have the clothes on, then the underwear gets removed, and they're like, yeah, you know, like it's SpongeBob and stuff like that. So then there's of course this student that comes in, which because she was just a random female student. I'm just gonna call her maybe Francine. No, I'll just call her Francine. So Francine comes in to ask Donald some questions about one of their assignments, and she sees Alex in his birthday suit. Well, hello. Oh dear. Told you this was a little PG-13 for this version. So yeah, next thing. So later after that, there's another monster that shows up called Boxon, which is sort of a muscular bull monster. Alex's powers have kind of need to charge back up because of what the machine did to him. Something or another. I'm not completely sure. But anyway, the other four, Donald, Tyson, Kiki, and Cece, go on their saucers to face off first with the course of rock soldiers, and then Boxon shows up. But for some reason, Boxon disables their morphers when they're in his presence, so they can't morph around here for some reason. And he ends up sending them, and one of his attacks sends all four of them flying all the way. They're kind of in like a wooded area, all the way from where they're at, thousands of miles away. Okay, not quite that far. but quite a good distance all the way over back to the Kroger store, crashing through the roof of the manager's office. Yeah, well, they're gonna have to get that fixed. They tell Michael what happened and everything, and so they're able to get the morphers. They figure out, since they can't use the morphers around Boxer just yet, they decide to use Donald's muscle enhancers and sort of perfect it a bit and use it on Alex, where this time it actually works and makes Alex sort of Hulk size with Hulk size muscles, where he can take on Boxon unmorphed with all these muscles. And after getting with the song "Eye of the Tiger" playing in the background, after getting Boxon wore down, his energy down enough, then the extra muscles wear off, and all the Rangers join in where they can morph together, and with Alex's help and his new combined Auto Blaster dual sword weapon, he's able to, well, pretty much destroy Boxon there. And they don't even need the Kroger trucks in this episode. Sort of like similar to the Minotaur episode in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers there. When they first got their power weapons there. So after that, then it ends with everybody at the gym, of course, and the co-manager trio trying to break Alex's record, but they're not so successful. Another thing I forgot to mention is that Ace and Silverstone has been kind of appearing throughout some of these episodes up to now. He was in the Serena and Cubius episode, trying to make a deal with her about the Rangers, talking about his company and everything, and supplying these aliens the weapons that they need and everything. And he also supplied Tradus what he needed after the CC Miley Cyrus switch. Then now in this episode, his appearance is where he's so upset about the Rangers defeating Boxon that he actually is out in the forest kicking trees. Then we go into a Kiki-focused episode, which is the 4th of July. Kiki is just out kind of, enjoying herself at the park and everything, kind of, just having a little moment to herself. You see all the families out enjoying themselves. But then 2 creatures show up, Shell Shax and Shelltron, and start making trouble. Turns out one of them is not so sure they should be doing this, and sees the panicking people and everything, and it's like, well, maybe this might not be such a good idea, my brother. I think it's Shell Shax that gets a little. It's sort of based off of Thunder and Lightning from the Teen Titans, from one of the Teen Titan 03 episodes. That Beast Boy actually tried to get that they actually got through to. When Thunder was like, "We have done wrong, my brother." So, Shell Shax is sort of having doubts about what they're doing. Kiki actually takes the opportunity to talk with him, but Shelltron gets in the way, knocking her into a hole at the park, and then they run off. The other Rangers then ask her about what happened and everything, and she refuses to really give them much information, because she feels like she can reform these creatures there. And Tyson trying to tell her, like, they're part of all the group of evil aliens that's actually trying to, destroy the Earth, Kroger economy system, blah, 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 blah. And there's a bit of an argument on that. We then get, again, cut to the 2 monsters actually coming to an IHOP, don't ask, where they demand for all the food they have, and then just so happens Asen is there and offers to treat them to dinner there, where they don't have to make completely a scene. And pretty much then, you pretty much can imagine they eat a lot. And Asen tries to get them to work with him in destroying the Rangers. Of course, Shell Shack still has his doubts about this. There's a scene where Kiki is able to get a hold of Shell Shax, just the 2 of them alone, to really show him that just because he's an alien and everything, and sort of monstrous looking, doesn't mean he has to actually be that way. He can't, and maybe he can kind of help the Kroger Rangers a little bit. Sheltron messes all this up, attacking Shell Shacks, thus leading to him actually just disposing of Shell Shack by eating him, much like the Gremlins did, and grows. The Rangers show up in their Kroger trucks and defeat Sheltron. And also there's a moment where Ace and Silverstone ends up having diarrhea as a result of some, I think something he ate that had buttermilk in it. So, not so good for Ace in there. So, yeah, there's that. And then there's a reference to Candy Camera with their own version of Candy Camera with, I can't believe you pulled that prank, dumb. So after that, we then go into somewhat of a Tyson focused episode, which ends up being a two-parter, where him and CC are getting close to their wedding date and everything, and getting things in the house prepared. Then, they get a visit from another tech advisor that wants to build robot rangers to replace the Kroger Force Rangers in order for them to be more active in the store and let the robots do the work. The other Rangers are kind of okay with this, but Tyson's not so sure about this and has his doubts. The Robot Rangers show their demonstration by fighting off some nanites that are attacking the train station, much like from version 2. But then something else kind of happens where, like I said, this is why I really wish I had the rough drafts, but something does happen to Tyson and CC after there's sort of an argument they have over the whole fact of, like, well, maybe we should just let the robots do all the work for us and we could just get on with our lives and stuff. And and the whole thing of, well, it's our responsibility, and back and forth, argue, blah, 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 blah. And they end up getting kidnapped. Turns out the friend of theirs that built these robot rangers is actually an imposter. And I think it's, I forgot what the creature was called, but she's actually, the friend of theirs that built the robot, that she's disguised as, is Beverly, which is based off of a florist we used to have. So the real Beverly is tied up where Tyson and Cece have been taken to. The other Rangers get word of it, and in part 2, they come to the rescue of Tyson and Cece, as well as Beverly. And they're actually able to have a very creative attack, elemental totem pole attack. Don't ask. And they're able to defeat this creature, which I forgot the name of. That's disguised as Beverly, of course, so we're just saying the fake Beverly. They defeat the fake Beverly, and of course, the day is saved. There's also a bit where they actually used a regular-sized Kroger truck to deliver the stuff for getting the stuff in the furniture and stuff in the new house that they're gonna have, Tyson and Cece. Yeah, which I don't really thinking about that. I don't think in real life that would have been possible, because if you really stop and think about it, the whole thing with as far as trying to move the Kroger. Having a Kroger truck come down like a neighborhood street and stuff like that. Yeah, it's much better with an actual U-Haul truck. So, yeah. So of course, the day is saved, and then of course the day of the wedding comes. Both Tyson and Cece about to get married and everything, and it gets disturbed by Kaigun, and Grundai is going to be coming soon. So Kaigun tries to disrupt the wedding, but they're able to get him out easily. This kind of, even though they get rid of him, then we have a moment where Cece's mother, who, this was actually Christina's idea, she imagined Queen Latifah as Cece's mother. Oh boy. I get Queen Latifah is now my in-law, my mother-in-law. so yeah. Next she gets pretty upset about this happening and thinks that Tyson is putting her daughter in danger, and also Eve calls him and Alex and Donald them a bunch of hood rats. Ouch. They or as Mr. Mosby say, you hooligans. And yeah, then there's a bit of drama with that. We get a flashback. There's a flashback before the episode stating how Tyson and Cece met, which is similar to me and Christina. When I first saw her, I was like, hey, what's up? And then there was a moment where tried to ask her out, and she was like, I'm into older guys. And I said, well, us younger guys can mature ourselves pretty well when we're impressing a fine older woman like you. Alright. Yep. And when I said that to Christina in real life, I was just trying to get a date back then. And now we're married. Funny how life works out. And I love it. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. So, yep, you know what they say, love can be very unexpected, but but when it's good, appreciate it. Yep, especially. So anyway, so of course, there's that flashback. Then there's another flashback where Tyson explains to the other Rangers, along with his mom, which actually, remember from version 3, one of the backup Rangers, Alice, I called her. So Alice, actually, he explains to them how there was a day when he was supposed to meet meet Cece's mom for the first time, and and turns out Cece's mom came a little too earlier than expected, and caught Tyson on the couch with not eating nachos and everything. She tried, of course, mom tried to well, men will be men. And okay, so tell me a little about yourself, son. And she was unimpressed with Tyson. Yeah, she was expecting him to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something. Even though he stated that he was promoted to produce manager, but us uppity like folk up with uppity attitudes, up manager at a retail store, a pish posh. I was expecting you to be something more high up, like a doctor or a high-end lawyer. That will never do for my daughter. No. So yeah, that was that. And yeah, then of course a bit later, Tyson's mom's a little upset about this, because there's a scene where she tries to go at Cece's mom, and they have to they have to avoid a cat fight. Oh boy. But later things started to reconcile when Cece's mom overhears Tyson's singing when he's by himself for a moment about singing a particular song, and there's another talk that happens between them, and of course now everything's okay. A little bit more to it, but like I say, I don't have the script, so yeah. But point is, Tyson and Cece do get married with her mother's blessings, of course. And just like at my real wedding with Christina, Tyson does sing the Jamie Foxx song for his vows, of course. Cece even sings a song back there, and of course, they say "I do," and you may kiss the bride, or as one of my uncles say, when he was married, when he was doing a wedding once, you may salute the bride. No, you may kiss the bride. Well, actually, he said that at me and Christina's wedding. There, you may salute the bride. Dude. Wait, I thought we were supposed to kiss each other. So that, but also while the wedding and stuff was taking place, Qui-Gon and Grandi ended up teaming up with Asen, and on their end, just like Michael was in version 3, they are on a quest to find this mystic black Kroger gem. Or should I say the gems of light and darkness. Oh boy. Yep, so that ends with that episode. Okay, so now we're gonna to continue. Yes, I had to change location, as you just see, because in order to plug my camera in there, I was gonna just cut it there and then finish recording this video another day. But now I need to finish this now, so finish this up. Anywho, that's now this will explain why it's so long. So anyway, now Tyson and Cece are officially married and everything. We then go into an episode where everybody's at the beach, of course. I guess you could say kind of celebrating a little bit. And there's a band there playing called J Squad, being led by Joshua. This is where we get Joshua into the fray. He's the lead singer for the group, sort of an independent group, trying to get themselves discovered. And however, during the party and everything, Qui-Gon attacks again. The rain, pretty much party crashing. Rangers then morph to face him, and much like version 2, there is that exchange of addressing his bad grammar and also getting his name wrong. A little bit later, of course, it's then revealed. I think a little bit later, of course, after everything, the J Squad ends up. Well, actually, what happened? Joshua ends up on that quest that on the quest that Michael was on in version 3, which eventually gets him the Black Kroger Force gem, thus allowing him to morph into the Black Kroger Ranger, assisting, which he's then able later to assist the Rangers in a later battle. However, this victory kind of goes to his head, and him and the J Squad end up getting a spot, a big time gig spot, and he starts to take the credit for his. Back the, oh yeah, I'm a superhero now, Kroger Force Black Ranger. Yeah, and sort of uses it, thus having a bit of an ego with it. This sort of causes a dispute between him and the band, as well as the as well as the other Rangers, of course. Then another attack from Grandi and Qui-Gon comes up, which I think there is another monster that comes with them. Can't think what creature this was, but I do know that he was a little too strong for Joshua to handle on his own with his powers, and the other Rangers are sort of like, well, he thinks he's all big and bad, he can handle it himself. And this sort of has a similarity to an episode from Tamers where Impman wanted to take on one of the Devas. And even though Renema was like, Impman, you're not strong. I don't need your help, are you, Petty? Now beat it before I blast you. Yeah, and then, of course, got himself beat up by Indramon there, to the point where, and just like Impman, there's a point where, well, in Impman's case, yeah, because, he's a Digimon, if he got attacked one more time, he would be deleted there, and that's why he was going in and out like with a Mosaic effect, kind of. Yeah. So with Joshua, I think I sort of wrote that kind of happening with him. I think basically with his powers there, fading in and out. But since they're since the Kroger gems are connected to them, yeah, much like the Ninja Power Coins in Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, yeah, that does kind of connect with their lifelines there. So yeah, at the very last minute, the other Rangers intercept, And of course, they're able to get Joshua out of there. Joshua apologizes about having such an ego about things, and after a bit of a rest up, they're able to have a rematch with the monster that was with Qui-Gon and Grandi, and of course defeat him. Of course, he grows giant size, and this is where, instead of the Kroger store becoming a Megazord this time around, this time we're introduced to a new kind of Six Ranger Zord, where we get a super Kroger truck Megazord. It's a Kroger truck that's actually slightly a bit bigger than the other 5 there. That's sort and is actually has what these kind of like auxiliary cannons or something like that. But it's a bigger Kroger truck, and it's able to destroy the monster. Then in a later episode, which is kind of Halloween theme, we then get the introduction of Joshua's sister, who is dating Michael Jackson. Don't ask. And they want to give Michael Jackson a surprise birthday party at Kroger. Of course, I'm pretty sure Michael would have been appreciative of it, you know. I don't think Michael's that hard to please, you know. He's a pretty easygoing guy. I just really thank God to have nice people like you, you know, doing kind things like this for me, you know. I really appreciate this. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I really like to thank you. And all of you. So, yeah, and for some reason, yeah, I don't know how this would have been possible in real life, but some reason okay, I'm going a little ahead of myself. Yeah, while they're setting up the surprise party for Michael Jackson at Kroger, the whole store is closed for a Michael Jackson surprise party. Yeah, makes sense to me. So while they're setting it up, Michael is out with Brandon's sister on a date at the amusement park to sort of keep him distracted. However, during the setup for this party, some scary things start happening due to a new villain, Flydun, like mentioned in the previous version 2 and 3. And much like those previous versions, he does trap the Rangers in his beehive of fear, and it ends up being up to Joshua to try to get them out of there. Once he does, and yeah, they kind of face similar to what version 3 had. Once Joshua gets them out of there, they all morph and everything to try to fight Flydun. He grows big, and this time it takes Joshua's super Kroger truck Zord to combine with the other 5 Kroger trucks to make a super Kroger truck Megazord, and they end up defeating Flydun and are able to enjoy Michael Jackson's birthday party. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I know you all must have worked really hard for this, and I just want you to know that it's really appreciated what you all have done for me. Thank you so much. God rest his soul, by the way. Yeah. And yeah, on a real note, again, not making fun of him, but on a real note, I really do still kind of miss Michael Jackson being around. I know he's in a better place and everything, you know, with the Angels and everything. But, you know, one of the things, you know, me and my wife mentioned once is, it would have been so cool to actually have met him in person. You know, sort of like the way I met Steve Harvey once. I mean, not Steve Harvey, but Bernie Mac in person once before he died. When he was shooting the movie Soul Man. He shot the last scene of the movie here in Shreveport at the downtown Shreveport. Part of it was at the Elvis Presley building we have over here, and then another part of it was at the Strand, and they sort of synced them together. So yeah, I actually got to speak to him in person before he passed after making that Soul Man movie, because he passed right after the movie was released there, which was really sad. They didn't even know anything was wrong with him. It just happened, you know, sort of like Cameron Boyce from Descendants. He passed in his sleep, epileptic seizure, which was kind of scary there, you just go to sleep and then, oof. It's kind of a scary thought there. So yeah, it's kind of similar. Don't really know exactly what was wrong with Bernie Mac, but it was kind of unexpected. Both him and I think even Isaac Hayes passed around the same time too. But well, one thing I do remember, they were trying to get us in position for lighting and stuff, and I snuck away while nobody was looking, and got close to where Bernie Mac was and said, "Hey, Mr. Mac," and he looked up and his face really lit up there, and he said, "Hey," and then the studio people came and got a hold of me and pulled me back where they wanted me to be, and like, darn. But I did get to speak to him, and he seemed pretty excited that someone came over and spoke to him there, He's like, "Hey." Especially, I think what also probably lit him up was the fact that I said Mr. Mac. Yeah, instead of like, "Hey, Bernie," or something. Because, kind of a habit, the Mr. and stuff like that, Anyway, just thought I'd share that there because of the whole thing with Michael Jackson there. So, anyway, so then, later episodes of version 4 would kind of be played out similar to how version 3 was there, with a little bit of difference, because you do get, whereas version 3 had already did villains like Flydon and Planets and all that, now you're just now getting those villains, as well as also the subplot of Jonah being the Kroger Force White Ranger, the whole world of dreams. The extra Krogazords that get introduced, the plane, train. This time, instead of a drill, you get a submarine for Alex. The wild tractor, of course. Like I said, the fire locomotive, and of course the shadow tank for Brandon, and the space shuttle with the space shuttle for Jonah, the White Ranger. Of course, there is, I think there was supposed to be like another Zord Jonah had, but I'm not sure what that was. But I do know about the shuttle Zord, and much like Jonah in version 3, yeah, he was a little boy when he got whisked away to this dream world 15 years ago from the start of the show. So he was like 5 then, and now he's 20, but his appearance is still a 5-year-old boy, much like how Peter Pan still is a little boy until the Chip and Dale movie. And then, of course, once coming into the real world, he starts to now look like his actual age. And, of course, him and Kiki become a thing. Yeah, like Michelangelo said about April and Casey. Are you like a thing now? And, of course, they go from there, extra Krogazords and stuff like that. This time, version 4 of Kroger Force has a crossover, not with Jungle Fury, but with Power Rangers RPM. Not complete. And at the time, I didn't realize that RPM was in another dimension. I was kind of wondering how they was in continuity with any of the previous Ranger series because of that whole apocalypse thing. But ever since Samurai revealed that it was another dimension, yeah, kind of wish I knew that earlier, But yeah, I'm kind of wondering if RPM was supposed to be the finale season or something. And although, honestly, that would have been an odd way to end that because, you have stuff like SPD that's going to be years later, but I think Link Hara pointed out a way that could have worked. Be sure to listen to his history of Power Rangers RPM to find that out. But yeah, so it's Kroger Force mixed with crossover with RPM. Kroger Force getting gear. And then, of course, your finale and stuff like that. And now, as with version 5 of Kroger Force, which not much to it, pretty much meant to be really like a Sentai. I was, of course, Tyson the Red Ranger. This time you had Jonah as a Blue Ranger, but it was a different person I had in mind to be Jonah. He was more serious, kind of like Hoji from Deca Ranger. And sort of, matter of fact, him and Tyson sort of had that Hoji Bon sort of banter. Like, hey, your partner, don't call me your partner. So then you had, instead of Donald, you had Joshua being the Green Ranger this time. Kiki was still the Yellow Ranger. I think it was a different someone else envisioned as Kiki this time. I think Joshua's sister, which she had a different name in version 4. And then, of course, we have, instead of Cece, have Daisy as the Kroger Force Pink Ranger, which was actually the girlfriend of who Jonah's being based off of in this version. Cece actually does appear in version 5 of Kroger Force, but not as a ranger. Much like Bon in Deca Ranger, she is a girl that, you know, was a love interest for the Red Ranger, but again, not a ranger though. So, yeah. Pretty much the only thing I came up with was just those 5 showed up. You know, they become Kroger Rangers, of course. The whole Sentai type of feeling. And there was one episode that involved Tyson and Cece getting stuff together in their house, much like in version 4 when they was getting ready for the wedding. And this was actually based off a dream I had once. The house ends up, the ladies that they buy the house from, they don't know it then, but later they find out that these ladies are actually witches from Paranormal Activity, one of them being Katie. Oh my God. We end up getting Power Rangers versus Paranormal Activity. That means they're going to have to face Toby. Oh boy, I guess you could say they don't stand the ghost of a chance. Or should Toby not stand the ghost of a chance? Well, but that was pretty much it there. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't much with version 5. I wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for the dream I had at that time. So, yeah, and there was one other thing that was also, I also had the idea of a Kroger movie. That didn't really go anywhere. The movie was actually supposed to be a prequel to the Kroger Force series, and the movie was just called Kroger. That was it. It was just Kroger. And it was supposed to be Tyson coming in, him and his mom arriving from New Orleans to Shreveport after a hurricane, and they moved in with Uncle Michael. I imagined this as a manga at one point when Michael answered the door, and then there's like this doom. Because at that time, before Kroger Force, yeah, Michael was kind of really strict on Tyson. Thus, you know, with the whole thing of, you know, trying to get Tyson to be the Kroger Force, being the produce manager and everything. Then, of course, he met up with, you know, the others that would become Kroger Rangers. Kiki was a little different back then. For the one from version 4, he was a little... As a matter of fact, this movie was pretty much, like I mentioned before, a prequel to version 4 Kroger Force. Kiki was a little... she was in a prior relation with somebody. I think what it was with the movie, much like how Kiki was in a relation with Asen Silverstone in version 3, and they got that utility armor in the Kroger movie, this implied that Kiki had already been in a relationship with Asen, and you actually got to see this in this movie. And then, of course, they ended up breaking up, and the breakup was pretty bad, which is why at the beginning of Kroger Force, she wasn't too trusting of people until after episode 3, because of what had happened with her and Asen there. And then Tyson met Cece for the first time, that's what the flashback in the wedding was referencing, scene from that, when they first met each other at college, of course. Donald was, of course, still in high school at the moment, so he was just starting college at the beginning of Kroger Force. So yeah, this was back when he was in high school. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I guess there was going to be something dealing with Ace and Silverstone which would be why him and Kiki broke up. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, so you got to, that was a bit long, but you got to hear Kroger Force version 4, a very small version 5, and a Kroger movie that was a prequel to version 4. So quite a bit in this video there. I told you this would be big there. So yeah. So yeah, there was. That's pretty much it. Matter of fact, that's pretty much it with Kroger Force in general. So yep. Next history video, you'll probably be hearing about another Power Ranger version outside that is not Kroger Force and does not have me as the Red Ranger. So that'll be a bit of a change up. The next the next Power Ranger history video will be Cyber Squad getting digital. I wish I could say Scooby style, because then I could do this laugh. Ruby-doo! But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be the next history video. Not sure when I'll get it, when I'll do it there. It'll probably be a while before I get there, but that'll be the next old history of my old story, Power Rangers Cyber Squad. Until then, make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Special thanks. Buy some of our available comics and hit us up on Patreon. And until then, we will see you later.